A man is seen in the initial scene being held within a sizable cube with several compartments. He explores many compartments in his effort to escape. He eventually walks into a space that sprays him with an unknown substance. He panics at first, believing it to be acid, but after tasting it, he discovers it is sweet. He believes it to be flavored water and gulps it down frantically to relieve his thirst. He is shocked that the liquid is a potent chemical base that slowly but surely melts his whole body in minutes, killing him. Then it is revealed that a distant observation room, where two technicians called Eric and Dodd operate, is always watching all of the cube's chambers. They are prohibited from viewing files unrelated to their job and are unaware of who their supervisors are. Despite this limitation, Eric tries to ask Dodd about the activities within the cube since he is becoming increasingly interested in them. But the latter brutally rejects him. Eric and Dodd are aware that everyone within the cube has either been sentenced to death or has voluntarily chosen to take part in psychological tests based on their knowledge. The two technicians play chess often while at work, and during one game, Eric shows off his extraordinary mental calculating skills by foreseeing Dodd's moves. They get some pills as food along with their responsibilities. The responsibility of recording and erasing the memories of a subject called Cassandra Rains is given to Eric and Dodd one day. In her memories, Eric sees Cassandra and her kid traveling joyfully across a woodland. However, their tranquility is unexpectedly disturbed when they are kidnapped by a disguised soldier who administers sedatives to them. Cassandra can disclose the soldier's face before she falls asleep, seeing a distinctive cube tattoo on his forehead. She later regains consciousness and finds herself confined within the cube. She cries out for assistance, but as might be predicted, no one can hear her. Cassandra finally begins to look at her after realizing that she controls her destiny. She manages to enter the neighboring room, but as soon as she does, Robert Haskell, another prisoner, tosses her to the floor. He holds her firmly until he understands that she is one of them. Jellicoe, Meyerhold, and Bartok are the other three people staying in the room when Cassandra enters. They seem to have been imprisoned here for some weeks. Unexpectedly, Robert and the soldier who abducted Cassandra both had tattoos of a cube on their bodies. However, none of the group members have any recollections of their previous life or any idea of how they got here. They all resolve to go in the same direction to get an advantage, since they both want to escape. Consequently, the hostages warily explore the cube's numerous rooms, checking each one for hidden traps. Bartok first employs tossing his shoe and watching for indicators of danger. He enters the room, assuming it is secure since he sees nothing. Unfortunately, his erroneous assumption proves deadly, as he quickly finds himself entangled in a web of threads that gradually grows tighter and tighter, slicing his body into pieces. The remaining victims are still looking for a way out after the frightening occurrence. They discover after some debate that the English alphabets are written on each door of the cube. According to Cassandra, these alphabets are coordinates that reveal the whereabouts of each chamber within the cube. According to their theory, the cube has 26 chambers, corresponding to the number of letters in the English alphabet. This revelation prompts the party to look into other rooms after learning that those located along the z-axis are considered secure. Eric, who is in the control room, tries to find out why the inmates are being held in the cube after becoming inquisitive. He then develops a plan to teach Dodd other chess tactics in return for knowledge about the cube. Dodd reveals information on the cube's third auxiliary exit, but withholds any other details since he is fascinated by the offer. In the next scene, Eric becomes even more intrigued when he realizes Cassandra's permission paperwork is missing. He tells Dodd immediately that whatever they are doing is against the law, but Dodd rejects him again. Then, a picture of Cassandra in a newspaper catches their attention, showing that she is a politician. Eric learns from this realization that the cube also unjustly targets innocent people and criminals. Soon later, Eric and Dodd get a call from their managers ordering them to follow a departure protocol. It is revealed that Owen, who is now acting as a test subject within the cube, is a part of the operation. For this reason, Dodd sets up a device with a camera and a yes/no button. Thick chains catch Owen as he approaches one of the cube's entrances. Dodd asks Owen various questions at this crucial juncture, including his name and if he believes in God. Owen doesn't recognize Dodd even though he hears his voice, proving that his memory has likewise been lost. He successfully responds to the first question, which causes Dodd to click the yes button, but when asked the second question, Owen says he doesn't believe in gods. Therefore, he clicks the no button. As soon as he does, a fire envelopes him, instantaneously murdering him. Eric notices this and starts worrying since he knows they may all suffer a similar fate at any time. He comes to the unsettling conclusion that it is cruel for individuals to live in the cube and that they are being dragged inside without their choice. A few hours later, Eric's paranoia causes him to resolve to enter the cube for himself. He now seeks to avert the approaching fate of the other victims. He does this by using an unlawful elevator, which then transports him to the cube. Eric then uses his in-depth knowledge of the area to construct and thoroughly memorize a map before setting out on his quest to meet Cassandra and the rest of the crew. Meanwhile, a manager called Jax and his colleagues show up in the control room. They use controlling devices to find Eric since they know his entrance inside the cube. Jax gives Dodd the go-ahead to start doing the usual set of needle tests on Cassandra and the rest of the gang in the middle of all of this. Jellicoe decides to explore a place somewhere within the cube on his own. Although she doesn't want to, she is forced to. Unfortunately, she made the wrong choice since the door behind her closes suddenly as soon as she entered. As Cassandra rushes to unlock the door, she is shocked to see that Jellicoe has already disappeared. The chambers within the cube are constantly moving, as this unnerving experience demonstrates. Dodd finds her and gives her a sedative injection to her feet, knocking her out while Jellicoe looks about the room. Cassandra and the gang locate Jellicoe lying still after a protracted search. Meyerhold cautiously approaches her and flips her over, only to find that she has some illness all over her body. Jellicoe suddenly awakens and clings to Meyerhold, asking for assistance. Meyerhold mistakenly pushes her against the wall in self-defense, injuring her head. She dies as a consequence, but Meyerhold quickly notices that his hands had been grazed when she was clinging to him. Unfortunately, the virus spreads throughout his body before he can do anything about it. Robert advises they leave Meyerhold behind because of the possible threat he could provide. He asserts that man will hinder their progress or infect them. Despite everything, Cassandra insists that they must not forsake the helpless guy. Meyerhold also begins appealing, and Robert finally concedes, but only if he checks every room after this one first. Meyerhold grudgingly accepts since there isn't any other option, and the gang travels on. Meyerhold checks a chamber under them in the next scene, but Robert abruptly shoves him down. It seems that the imprisoned chamber is emitting an exceptionally high-frequency sound. Meyerhold is tragically instantly killed by this. Cassandra shows her dissatisfaction as planned and fights with Robert Incendiary. She describes him as a traitor who thinks about himself. Eric enters the room just as things are about to become physical, saying that Robert did the right thing since the infection was so contagious. Then Eric presents himself as an employee and starts revealing top-secret details about the cubes. He reveals that despite having no memories, the people within volunteered for this experience. However, Robert vehemently asserts that he never consented to anything and did not break any laws. He says that he worked hard as a delivery guy before he was kidnapped. Robert, however, is unaware of his previous existence. As Cassandra asks about her kid, Robert is prompted to reveal some drawings he's done. He said she remembered him seeing the girl. Robert prevents Cassandra from attacking him by telling her they need the guy as she loses control under the pressure. Eric reassures them he is there to assist them and directs them to the third auxiliary exit by analyzing the coordinates. On the other side, Jax's colleagues discover Eric's whereabouts and show it on their monitor. Jax directs them to delete the room's location and capture the inhabitants. Jax turns on the electricity of the walls after successfully containing them into a single space to kill them possibly. However, an unexpected power failure breaks their communication with the cube. It seems that Dodd was the one who ruined the operation after having a sudden change of heart. This operation starts the reset mode and deactivates all the traps in the room. The inmates now have 5 minutes to flee before the whole facility is vaporized during a sterilization operation. Dodd has helped them. Eric immediately understands, so he starts a 10-minute countdown timer on his watch and directs the group to the exit. Jax discovers Dodd's betrayal in the control room and executes him as retaliation. He then uses a chip placed in Robert's brain to access it, giving him control of Robert's body. The others are subsequently ordered to be killed by Robert after Jax manipulates the programming to prevent them from escaping the cube. In compliance with the directive, Robert becomes angry and brutally assaults his erstwhile friends. But Eric and Cassandra work together to control him in some way. The two go onward until they ultimately reach an escape chamber, where they find Robert waiting for them. He assaults the group once again and almost chokes Eric to death. Fortunately, Cassandra intervenes and kills him by impaling him with a sharp piece of metal. The two quickly depart the room via the auxiliary exit just as the sterilizing process is about to start. After that, Cassandra and Eric swim through the water and appear on a lake. They flee through a woodland that uncannily mirrors the one Cassandra had seen earlier in her recollection. Sadly, Jax's guardsmen also appear in the jungle and begin pursuing them. Eric is tragically tranquilized and caught during the chase. However, before falling back to sleep, he can briefly stop the troops, enabling Cassandra to escape. Later, when Eric is aware again, he finds himself in a surgical room. Jax tells him that Eric has been found guilty of high treason and that he consented to serve as a test subject. Eric signed a permission document that Jax is also presenting, although unaware of it. After learning this, a doctor starts to change Eric's brain. Throughout this, he has a dream in which Cassandra and her daughter are reunited, and he is praised as a superhero. In the climactic moment, Eric, now mentally impaired, is restrained within the cube, where the new hostages discover him. He expresses his wish to return to a room with a different hue and brings up the room's color many times. To support the channel, switch on the notification feature, subscribe for more videos like this, and leave a like. I appreciate you watching.